Isaiah says in Isaiah 7:4, 700 years before Jesus is born. So, I mean, I can't see anybody saying, well, they made this one up. Therefore, Isaiah says, the Lord himself, God himself, is going to give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel. Yeah. Now, as soon as they point out that this is a sign, critics come out and say, hey, we got some little problems with this. Tell them what they say.
Yeah, I mean, they try to poke holes in it, and they say, first of all, Matthew in the New Testament gospel misapplies this to Jesus. And you say, well, why? What do you mean? Isn't that a reference to the coming of Jesus, the Messiah? Critics will say, no, because, number one, the word virgin is mistranslated.
Yeah, that's the first thing they say.
Exactly. And they say that the word that is used, alma, in the Hebrew,
simply means young woman.
It means young woman. And so that's a problem. Number two, they say Emmanuel. Well, he wasn't called Emmanuel, he was named Jesus. And so that doesn't fit as well. So there's the problems that they point out. And yet, when you research it, what you find is that there was no one and only term in ancient Hebrew that referred to virgin.
Right.
Alma, or maiden, young maiden, is presumed to be a virgin in those days.
In that society.
Exactly. Now, critics will say, well, there was another word he could have used, betula. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem with the word betula is that it can refer to a widow or a divorced woman who would not be a virgin. And so, as I talked to one expert, he said, if you're going to use any one word to encapsulate and describe someone who is a virgin, alma is the correct and only word to use. And so this is correct in translating it to be virgin.
Right.
The question of Emmanuel. Names in biblical times were often representative of something. They describe something. And Emmanuel means God with us. Well, let me ask you a question. Of all human beings who ever lived, who is the one person that billions of people on planet Earth say is God with us?
Right.
Jesus. What's more, we have to look at these predictions of Isaiah in context. There is a complex of messianic prophecies and descriptions that are used. In Isaiah chapter 7, it's about the coming of the Messiah. In Isaiah chapter 9, he is already there and he is called Mighty God and he is ruler. And then in Isaiah 11, he is ruling and reigning. And so this tells us that this is a predictive prophecy, and it was intended to foreshadow the coming of the Messiah who would be the King of Israel in the world.
Yeah, and the greatest Jewish commentator on the ancient scriptures is known by the name of the acronym Rashi.
Right.
He was a medieval French rabbi whose analysis of the Jewish writings is still considered to be the centerpiece of a contemporary Jewish study today. And this is what he said when he studied Isaiah 7:14. He said, and some interpret that this is the sign that she was a young girl, an Alma, and incapable of giving birth. Now, if she was incapable of giving birth because she was an Alma, then that implies that something supernatural had to happen or something unusual had to happen anyway.
Exactly. And here you have this great rabbi centuries ago pointing out that many believe that this was a supernatural birth that was being referred to.